Hello, everyone. Today is June 8th, 2022. I'm here today with Daniel Noble. Daniel is a U.S. Marine and aircraft mechanic. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Daniel.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Happy to be here.
So, wow, aircraft mechanic. How was that?
So, pretty much when I first graduated high school, or while it was in my senior year of high school, you have a process of trying to find out what job you want to do in the military. Of course, I chose Marines, and from that period, I wanted to do something mechanic related or engineering related. However, the only engineering job available at the time was combat engineer, and that wasn't available at the time. When Well, it was available, but then it wasn't available at the same time. So I ended up going for mechanic, and I wanted to do a car mechanic, but I needed a driver's license at the time. So at that point, I was just like, I'll do aviation mechanic. And so from that point, went to basic training. After basic training, I went to my schoolhouse, which is located in Pensacola, Florida. From there, went to my main basic aviation training, and then I went to the specific one for my aircraft, which was a Harrier at the time, which was located in Cherry Point, North Carolina. Went there for a few months, got fully trained on that, and then after that, I got stationed in Yuma, Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you learn? Like, what was it like initially going into being an aircraft mechanic? Had you done anything like that before?
No, so the only mechanic experience I had before this was really was whenever my dad would work in our car growing up, and I would just be there like handing him tools. A lot of times I wouldn't know the name of the tools and stuff. So, but it was that, and then when I was in high school, I took a auto class. I believe it was. I remember. I think it was senior year and junior year. I took that class. Was able to gain some experience on working on cars, but never really retained from that knowledge when I progressed and got older. So then when I went to the schoolhouse, I learned pretty much how to do how to like we call it troubleshooting, or how to like figure out issues with certain problems that occur with the aircraft, like if the aircraft isn't starting, or if the aircraft uh, is overheating, or whatever is going on. We figure out how to like go through the proper procedures to figure out that issue. So
That does
that's the
what go?
but yeah, that was the main thing I learned. And then like of course learning how the proper name of tools, and learning how to be hands on, and how to work around different tight situations, because working on aircraft is fun and all, but sometimes it sucks because you're in tight spaces, and a lot of times it just hurts your hands and get injured all the time on your hand, and you get that mechanic hands, I guess what they call it. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What types of injuries?
Like nicks on your hand. One time, the worst injury I ever had was I was working on the side of a jet, and there's a door on it, on the under the nose, where the under the nose landing gear. I was working, and then I was trying to get off. I lost my balance, and I fell off the the stand, and it like cut on my whole rib area. Like it
Oh,
cut from like the top of my armpit down. It wasn't a deep cut, but it was enough to like cause a scar.
wow.
Like, but I did that, and I had to like go and like we didn't have any supplies at the time, so I had to like go bandage it up myself and figure it out. And then over time, over time, of course, it went away. But that was like probably the biggest injury I had regarding that. Luckily, I didn't have anything serious, but as far as like scars and cuts, that was the worst one I ever had.
Wow. That isn't too bad, but that's still kind of scary.
Yeah, yeah. I hear stories though of people like falling off the aircraft and breaking legs,
Oh, wow.
or like breaking shoulder, or like not breaking, dislocating their shoulder, or having things fall on them. Like it's a very dangerous job, of course, especially when you deploy and you're on like on a carrier and stuff. It gets even more hectic and crazy out there. So
Wow. Have you done mechanic work on a carrier?
I have. It's very sketchy, especially if the ship is uh is underway or is in the process of traveling from like one location to another. So you're out in the middle of the ocean, and there's waves rocking the ship back and forth. And of course, you don't feel it too much since it's a huge carrier. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you've seen the Midway in San Diego. So since it's huge, it doesn't affect you that much. But sometimes when it's like a storm or whatever, and the waves are rough, usually they'll secure the upper area so no one could go on top to minimize the possibility of someone getting lost at sea or falling off the carrier. But usually they try to. Usually when we work, we try our best to stay safe and keep people from getting injured and stuff like that.
Yes, it's definitely adds another element to the risk management.
Yeah, ORM.
What?
Yeah, we call it operational risk management, ORM. That's our acronym we have about it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long?
It's a
What?
what
It's a what? No, what you were about to say something.
I was kind of like I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. How long have you been out at sea? What's your longest?
The longest I've ever been was a month and a half, and that was on my first. That was on my first deployment, and that was because we were traveling from Australia to Hong Kong.
Wow.
And we were supposed to like I think there was a storm. I believe there was a storm, so we ended up staying out to sea longer than expected since it was a storm. And they didn't want us to go into port. And if we go into port during a storm, there's a possibility something might happen. We might stay longer. So we ended up staying away from the storm, and we were out to sea longer than expected. And it sucked because we went a period without having a restock on the ship. So I was the night shift, and literally it was like a week straight of beef lasagna on our night shift, and it was just to this day I can't eat beef lasagna, not beef lasagna, beef ravioli. I went
Wow.
like a week straight with just beef ravioli because that to this day I can't eat beef ravioli without thinking about that period.
Wow.
And it was rough, but besides that, it was fun because it's deployment. You kind of expect the worst to occur, but once we finally went to shore in Japan, and not Japan, in China, Hong Kong, China, we all was able to get off the ship and enjoy ourselves, have some booze, and like be able to explore the city and have a great time.
Nice. How's Hong Kong?
It was awesome. Literally, there's like two halves of it. Like we went to the first main area where the ship was. We were able to walk around. There's like this main ship that had like Gucci stores, Louis Vuitton, and everything. We would go inside there and look around and stuff. And since we were all Americans, there were security guards following us because it was like they knew we were military. They're like, yeah, we don't trust these guys. We know y'all don't got the money. So we just walked around and sightseed and saw some like temples, and was able to like my friend, he bought like a Rolex, but from like one of the street vendors. But I mean, it was obviously fake, but he bought it just to like feel flashy and feel good about himself.
Wow.
And it was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. And then the second day we went to the other side, and where we got lost, and then we ended up getting lost, and then we found like a Hard Rock Cafe, Hong Kong, and I was able to buy like a shirt there because I like to collect souvenirs whenever I go to places, especially like from the Hard Rock Cafe. I enjoy that bar. But we went there, had like a nice dinner and stuff, and then we head back to the ship, and we had a great time, great experience there. And then we ended up leaving a day early because of another storm. So
wow. That sounds like a great time to go there with a bunch of people and to how old were you?
I was 20. I was 20 at the time because during that deployment, it was during the summer, and before the summer I turned 20. So, and then when you're in Japan, 20 is the drinking age at the time, and then for the military members. So I was able to drink it for the first time out there, and was able to celebrate my birthday out there. So
Nice. Have two 21st birthdays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was weird because that birthday was awesome, whereas my 21st birthday was kind of underwhelming because I was at like a bar with my brothers and friends and stuff, and I didn't do any that much crazy drinking or anything like that because we went there on like it was my birthday. My 21st birthday was on a Friday. No, it was on a Saturday, and we went there. We went out on Friday, and then I didn't start drinking until midnight. It was kind of like, yeah, here's a drink, and I drank, and I was enjoying it, and it was kind of like, all right, it's kind of late. I want to go home. I'm tired. So
Yes. Wow. That is well, at least you had your 20th then.
yeah, yeah, it's good times. Good times.
Very good times. Was there any other things that you learned as, in those first few years of being, traveling and being in the Marines?
Things that I learned uh was just it's just like mm, main thing is just the brotherhood within the military members among ourselves, especially in the Marine Corps. We have a strong brotherhood. Like it's weird because you can meet a complete stranger, and then if you find out they're a Marine, it's just like, oh, you're a Marine too. Even if they already served their term, they are already out of the Marine Corps, living their life. They could be like 50 years old or whatever. Come across them, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm a Marine. Wait, you're a Marine? I'm a Marine." And then it's like, "Oh, snap! We have a lot in common." And we'll have a long conversation about our time serving, the time we went to boot camp. Uh, like we have like it's a funny saying like this one time in this one time in band camp. Well, it's this one time in boot camp because each one of us have a funny story that we remember for the rest of our lives. So it's the brotherhood aspect of it and just the the camaraderie amongst all of us together. Like I know a lot of guys that like they'll serve their time in the Marine Corps and they're like, oh, I hate the Marine Corps, I want to get out, blah 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 blah. Then when they finally yes to get out the Marine Corps, they're like happy. They're just like, bye y'all, it's shooting the bird up to everyone like, I'm out of here, see ya. And then like freaking like not even a year later, you just see them that one post on Facebook. Oh, I miss the Marine Corps, the good times, blah 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 blah. And it's just and I always see that. I every time I see those guys that are just like, oh, I hate the Marine Corps. I'm like, oh yeah, you see that now. I'm gonna see you on Facebook posting about like I miss the good times in the Marine Corps and this and that. And uh but yeah, it's the camaraderie. Those were the main things I learned about the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps when I first joined, within my first year, was the camaraderie and the brotherhood we have together. Yeah,
That's very nice to have.
yeah,
It's a lot of people are lost nowadays.
oh
And
yeah,
it's it because we have technology and all this in front of us, and we can get consumed by our computers or our phones, and so having that community isn't so easy as it was. And for a lot of people in the military, you know that's not the case because they have that pretty much ingrained in the system.
yeah. Yes, it's very interesting. Like with technology, how it's evolving society, and and the how the Marine Corps nowadays is like trying to evolve with the technology and getting away from like the I guess the old ways you'll say. So it's something that I noticed with like this newer generation, they're a lot more technical and especially like when it comes to like social media and stuff, that's a big thing. Like the Marine Corps is trying to get TikTok or trying to become more social media savvy, and it's kind of course it's cringy at first, but hopefully they get it down pack and be able to run with it. Yeah, it's technology is I guess it's a gift and a curse. It's when it comes to
It's
this
a
subject.
gift and a curse. I literally was talking to someone just now and saying it has its pros. This person doesn't have a phone.
Yeah,
It has its pros and its cons.
yeah,
And I know the Marines are very good with their, what's the word you're looking for?
Adaptability.
No, not their adaptability. Their marketing. They're very, as
Oh yeah,
far as the branches in the military, it's like they're the best marketers easily. Like people want to go to the Marines, whereas the other ones, people have still want to go, but it's not as easy or as like obvious as it is with the Marines.
yeah. Yeah, it's just more of a challenge. That was what got me interested in the Marine Corps because first, growing up, I knew about the military, but I didn't know about like the different branches and stuff. The only thing I knew about was like maybe the Navy from like Popeye and watching TV like that, and then freaking Army from like when I was in high school in New York. They had like a ROTC program, and I was like, oh, Army, and that was like around the time when we were the war in Iraq was taking place, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to go out there and get killed in Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere in the Middle East. I didn't want to do that at the time. So I was like, yeah, screw that. I don't want to do military at all. And then as I got older, went through high school, and I found that there's more than just infantry. There's more than just one branch. And like even like when I was in Aliso, freaking the first recruiter that ever came to me was an Army recruiter, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you could get this football or whatever if you do like 50 pull-ups, push-ups at this." And I was like, "Oh, all right, yeah, sure, I'll do the push-ups." Did the push-ups. I was like, got a football. I was like, "Oh, that was dope." And then he gave me an Army flyer. I was like, "All right, sweet." And then like literally the next day, a Marine Corps recruiter came in, and I talked with them, and dude was like saying, "Yeah, the Army came here. Yeah, no, they're weak sauce. You gotta do the Marine Corps. We're more challenging. We're more about this. We're more about that." And I was like, "Oh, all right, yeah, I'm about that competitiveness, you know." And then he gave me his card. I went to the recruiting station, and the rest was history from there. So, so yeah, it's definitely that competitiveness is what drives a lot of people into the Marine Corps because they see like the Navy, they see their physical fitness test that they have is not as challenging as the Marine Corps. Like they run like a mile and a half, whereas the Marines we run like 3 miles. We do pull-ups and crunches. Well, we're about to transition over to planks now, which is kind of sucks from going from crunches to planks. But it's a huge, it's definitely a bigger challenge than when it comes to these other branches stuff. So
Absolutely. And planks are probably a better tell than crunches, how long you can
yeah,
do a plank.
yeah. I think the true reason is because like a lot of people they tend to like they probably like be cheating with the crunches because a lot of times with crunches, I've seen sometimes when it's like people do crunches like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 20, 21. Like they like start
They're
they skip
skipping.
numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's crazy because crunches is like the easiest thing you could do for the physical fitness test. Like crunches is easy. The next challenging one would be like the pull ups, which I
Push-ups.
mean,
Now,
oh
push-ups are less challenging than pull-ups.
oh yeah. That's why we do pull ups in the Marine Corps. But like it's like the crunches, then it's push ups. Well, it's pull ups, but if you can't do pull ups, you could do push ups, but you won't get a full score. You just get like an 80 out of like 100 for your points or something like that, I believe. And after that, it's the 3 mile, which that's the roughest one for everyone. Like, really, I
What's
say I
rough
struggle
about it?
just because then just that long endurance. Like when I was younger, I was able to like easily like run like the 3 mile and like around averaging around like 20 minutes. The best time I ever got was like 19 minutes and 10 seconds. But
That's
then
a great time.
yeah,
You
yeah, and
were a
then
beast in high school, dude. You were
yeah,
very,
yeah,
you were a physical phenom our senior year.
yeah, yeah, man. It was I remember uh before I even thought about joining the Marine Corps, like I was playing when we were playing football. Literally, like every day I would go to the gym after school because it was like, yeah, I don't have anything going on after school. I already did my homework, so I would just go to the gym. And I was trying to get ready
Genius.
for senior. senior season, especially in the off season. I was like, yeah, I got to get my game up so I could be a beast, and so I could get like a scholarship. And I was trying to like get to that point, but then
I
things
should have done
things
that.
didn't go the way I wanted to. So end up joining the Marine Corps. So
Nice. Probably better.
yeah, definitely. Because if I would have went to like Saddleback or something like that, I probably would have like probably maybe try to like balance school and sports and work while trying to live, and that probably would never work out because just I've seen a lot of friends from Saddleback that tried doing that and they just never worked out, and then they just become full-time students. Not full-time students, full-time working. So
Yes. It's school isn't for everyone. What
yeah.
do you think about school? Higher
Uh,
education past high school.
I think it's I like you said, it's not for everyone. I never had interest in it until like recently. But I know like a lot of kids out of high school, they have like this high echelon look at it. Like they're looking at college like, oh my God, I must go to college. Otherwise, if I don't go to college, I won't be successful, which that's not true at all. You could do trade school, you could do many other jobs, you could do military or just become just like a lot of the billionaires in the world, none of them went to college, like freaking Mark Zuckerberg, uh who else?
Well,
Like
he was at Harvard. He was
yeah.
in Harvard and then
Well,
he
yeah, he
dropped
dropped
out.
out. Yeah, he dropped out. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he did. Like a lot of them were. I guess I should say they were dropouts because it's like I think college could be a scam at sometimes, especially with the high pricing and everything. And then not to mention with the college loans that they give out that have like these high interest that just like brutally like horrible, like which like just financially like destroy these students, especially when they graduate. And I know I had this one person I was talking with. He took out a college loan. I think it was like 150,000 around that range of college loan, and then he went to his college. I can't remember. It was one in Cali. He went there, and then like he got like a degree in like something small. Like I think it was like teaching or like a degree in like something like I don't think it was gender study. It was something else. He got a degree in something small, and then now he's like, oh, I'm a part of the system. I owe this money and I can't get a decent job because this and that. I'm like, dude, like if you get a degree, if you're paying all this much in college, you need to make sure that that degree you get will be able to pay off that college loan debt. Because if you don't, then you're just going to set yourself up for failure. You're just going to be paying this debt off for the rest of your life. Like that's like if someone goes to like, like takes out a $250,000 college loan and then just go to Harvard and because they want to become a doctor, but then they change their plan and just become a dropout. Now that money needs to be paid back. Right? You're supposed to use that money to go with your career to become a doctor. Then once you making that doctor money, you pay off that college loan back slowly but surely. You know, that way you can become. And then once it's all gone, that money just goes straight to your pocket and you're good. So I sometimes look at college as a scam. However, we're all adults. We have our own choice. We know what we're signing ourselves up in, or where we're signing ourselves into. Especially nowadays with like technology, you know, you could easily do a quick Google search like is college worth it and everything. You could see that there's trade school and there's all these other different opportunities you could take out there. And so
Absolutely.
and then to add on to it, like getting a regular bachelor's degree is not that hard nowadays. And if everyone has a bachelor's degree, then it devalues the value of a bachelor's degree, from my opinion, at least. You know, I know there's people out there that have a bachelor's degree. They're like, oh, my degree is everything. Like, you know what I mean? So, but that's how I see it when it comes to that.
Yes. And then these 18-year-olds don't understand that this loan that you take out, like you said, you're taking out this loan You want it to, what's going to come out of it to be able to at least pay it back. The loan, this education loan that we get, it's like a lot of people our age think of school in terms of like you just go there for fun. It's a place to party. And it's really an investment into ourselves. And so if you put in that money, you better be able to say the investment I'm going to get out of it is going to be worth the investment I put into it. And a lot of people don't see it in that way, especially when they're 18. I didn't see it in that way. Luckily, I didn't put myself in that type of situation. But they don't. They take out these massive loans. They don't have the ability to pay them back. And it becomes a serious issue.
And it sucks because that's how, because what ended up happening is you just get a bunch of young adults, I guess you could say, that is in debt, and then now that they're in debt, they can't like progress in their own career or their own life because they have to constantly pay off this college loan debt for the rest of their life. Even I know sometimes it's just for like 10 years, or shoot, if you got a good enough job, it could be 5 years, but a lot of times it's just, unfortunately, people end up paying this off for like the next 20 years to like possibly the rest of their life, and it sucks. And
It,
that's at fault on. I say that's on fault. That's at fault with the school system, because there's no excuse to why our public schools can't do like a course to teach kids out. Hey, if you're gonna take a college loan, boom, make sure you're aware of these college loan debts, and make sure that if you invest in this education, make sure that you'll be getting that investment back into you when it comes to paying it off and stuff. So
dude, what you just said is so critical. I can't believe this wasn't communicated to teenagers. I mean, I think teenagers today understand because you have friends
yeah,
who don't have jobs, getting up 4-year degrees. I've heard teenagers say, my friends don't have jobs with their 4-year degrees. I'm not going to go to my 4-year.
yeah,
And, so it's more communicated. But for us, like, you know, we've been 10 years out of high school now to 11 years. That was not, no one was telling us that. Like, it was kind of known there was like a loan school problem, and, but like, it wasn't like communicating like if you take out massive loans, you might have to pay them off. It was just communicating like go to college, it's good for you, you know.
like one person that did tell me that actually kind of was one of the reasons why I joined the Marine Corps was my recruiter, because he had this, I guess he had this process. What he would do is like every person he comes in, if they question, oh, why should I join the Marine Corps? Why don't I just go to college? He'll sit them down and just say, all right, then. So here's, he'll make a chart. Like left side would be military, right side would be college. He'll say, hey, here's a positive for the military and this and that. Write down all the positives for college, and the person will put all this stuff down. And he'll say, all right, so do you, and then he'll like look at all their positives, and he'll be like, hey, so what about college loan debt? Like, how you plan to pay this off? Oh, well, I'll get a good job and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll say, yeah, but if you were to, let's say, hypothetically, let's say you want to be a mechanical engineer, or you want to be a nuclear, a quantum physicist, or you want to do something with regarding science. Let's say you join the Marine Corps, or not even the Marine Corps, the military in general, because we're a good branch, but there's other branches out there that definitely will have that job if you are looking for another job. You do that, you get that time in, you get that experience, and you go to school via the military for free to get that knowledge in. Now, at the same time, from your time in the military, if you have that drive to want to do college, you can knock out your college while in the military. And then, so let's say you get your degree after being in the military after just one enlistment. You now have a degree, you now have the experience in that subject that you really want to do. You can easily get out and then apply for that job that you really want. And I guarantee you, as an employer, They're going to look at you as, who should I hire? This guy who just pretty much just went to college, graduate college. He doesn't have any hands-on experience, or this person who was in the military, served in the military successfully. He have all these qualifications, all this training. He has his yellow belt, which is like a course you could take in the military. He has all these qualifications, certificates, and stuff. And from his experience and from what his commands say, he has these references saying that this guy was an outstanding worker and he's a hard charger. And yeah, I'd rather go with the person who has hands-on experience versus the guy who has knowledge, but he doesn't have hands-on experience. Because that person who has hands-on experience, he gained that knowledge from being able to go to military school, being able to work on the job field itself and working with these personnel who already has that experience. And my recruiter will break this down to me. And I was like, dang, that makes sense. And then he also touched on the fact that if everyone, like how easy it is to get a degree in college, that if everyone has a degree, then it devalues the degree at some point, and then it makes it hard to like be able to compete when like, oh, you have a degree. Well, everyone has a degree. What else do you have? Do you have experience? Oh, you don't? Well, this guy has experience, and he may not have a degree, but he has experience. So I'd rather go with the guy with experience. So yeah, my recruiter broke that down to me, and that was one of the things that led me to want to do military to begin with.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something that, like, and it's not just regarding college, like understanding college loans. There's plenty of other things that I kind of hate that wasn't taught to us as like seniors in high school, like when it comes to like doing our taxes, when it comes to basic stuff like how to change a tire, or how to be able to understand leases when you're on your own, or how to like basically all these different things that as adults we experience. But it's usually, when it comes to us, the only knowledge we have regarding it is either our parents, maybe an older friend, maybe just doing some research on your own, or just reality hitting you flat on, and then from that reality you might make the wrong decision, and now you're like, dang man, I made this mistake. You know what? Whatever. I'll take this L, and the next time I'll have this knowledge and I'll move on in life. So hopefully our education system will touch on those different matters and be able to improve, so we as adults can be able to understand this. Now, of course, that could be wishful thinking, because at the same time, I kind of think that it could be like rigged that way, so that way these companies can make money off of these, I guess you could say, these children, or these young adults that don't know better. So, but hopefully the system will change regarding that matter.
Yes, hopefully. And I think it will. I think that colleges that aren't able to produce high value won't get I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Something's going to have to give.
Yeah, and another thing, luckily, that's a positive. That's one of the main positives of technology. Like you have TikToks, or like YouTube videos. Everyone just like I saw a TikTok like that was just like just passing random knowledge on like how to stay debt free in college, and it just showed, like, it was like a 10-second video of someone saying, join military, get college free, do this, get college free, do it, get a scholarship, get college free. Like, it just showed like basic stuff you could do. And of course, as adults, we kind of, well, I don't know about you, but I don't pay attention to TikToks that often. Usually I just come across it when I'm on like Facebook or something. But these young kids, they see these TikToks and they're like, oh, wow. So there's other ways to get college, or there's other ways to be able to get a higher education without having to pay out of my pocket. I could get a degree. I can join military and go after, or I could just do it while in the military. I can do it, see if I could get a, what's that called when you, when someone pay for it, not scholarship, but you can like get donated money to go for your higher education. I forgot what it's called.
Grant.
Yeah, grant. Thanks, grant. You can get a grant. Like, there's different opportunities you have, or shoot, don't even go for higher education. Just go for trade school. You could become a plumber or electrician or just a regular mechanic, and it's just and you could still be able to make like over 50K. So
Yes.
different opportunities, and I hope that they will be able to just present that to us as to the next generation of young adults. And I'm happy that technology like TikTok and social media even is able to like pass this knowledge on to these young kids.
Yes, it's got its pros and cons, like we said.
Yeah.
And we definitely have to, I mean, I don't think not having social media is a good thing. I think it's there. It's a huge part of the world. And we might as well try and get something from it. We don't want to lose ourselves in it, which
Yeah.
is easy too. I'm not above that at all. And we just need to walk that line between both and decide that we feel comfortable. And you know, there's a no matter if technology is there or not there, there's going to be you know challenges ahead of us. It's an old part of being a human. Like all old religions talk about some sort of like balance between doing right and doing wrong. And so now that technology's in that, it's just the same thing, doing right and doing wrong with an iPhone or a computer.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just have to be aware and hopefully take advantage of the crazy amount of free education that's available online.
Oh yeah. Like it's amazing how like literally to do almost anything you can just Google it. Whether
Yes.
Google it, freaking a YouTube video. Like the other day I was looking at how to like change like your how to like fix your sink. You type in how to fix sink and boom, videos right there. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I know it used to be a lot more popularized, but since I guess YouTube like removed like the dislike button, I guess. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, that
There's
was
been a lot of
recent.
people. Yeah, yeah. There are like a lot of guys that like post videos, but then it's just kind of like it's incorrect, and so they kind of like allow those videos to get on the main front. However, I guess they reverted back to having the dislike button because I mean I still see it, and I do see a dislike counter sometimes. And since then, is I guess everything's working well now. So, but
I
yeah,
haven't seen the
these
counters. I just see the button there.
really. Let me check real quick. It's Yeah, I see it. Actually, well, you know what? I think it's because I forgot. I added like the once they removed it. I forgot about this. Once they removed it, there was like this app that allowed you to be able to see it, and I downloaded it on my computer. So
Really?
yeah, but
Wow.
I forgot. Yeah, it's I don't even remember what, but that was a while ago. But yeah, it's but yeah, technology is amazing, man. It's amazing. It's
Technology.
a gift and a curse.
Yes, it is. You aircrafts are pretty amazing too.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's mind blowing. Like when I first started working, uh, the first thing that came to my mind after like seeing the interior of the like aircraft and seeing the components and everything was like, how is it like? I want to know the people who designed this aircraft, like the committee that got together and create this aircraft that was able to hover vertically and take off horizontally. Like it's made and then like then we go from and that was just with the Harrier, the older aircraft. The one I'm working on now, I'm just even more mind blown, like because the technology that is in it, the crazy things that this aircraft can do, and it's just like I can't get on details regarding it, but it just makes you like, dang man, the U.S. the United States government, the United States military is pretty scary, I'll say. So, but it's very interesting and amazing how technology has brought us aviation wise from the old school aircraft with like they have paper wings to how we are now when we have these aircraft that are like stealth, can fly vertically, horizontally, be able to like do all these crazy missions and these crazy maneuvers undetected. Like it's mind blowing.
Wow. Do you work on manned or unmanned aircraft?
I work on manned aircraft, pretty much um, with a like most aircraft are like piloted with one pilot, whereas like the Air Force, I know they have like drones. But yeah, the aircraft I worked on both are manned, but there's a pilot who has complete control of the aircraft. So yeah,
Wow. Have you ever flown in one of these planes?
unfortunately, no. I wish I could, but I can't. Because especially the newer ones, is like they're like kind of very you gotta be like a pilot to fly the newer ones. When I was working with the Harrier, I know the trainer birds. There's two seats, and I guess like back in the day, if like a military member was like exceptional, like if he had like a was like above all of his peers, and he was like re- winning a bunch of rewards and stuff, they would like reward him by having him fly into like the trainer jet as the I guess pilot it and train and fly it around and stuff. And from what I hear, most of the time the person that's flying was like end up puking and just getting sick.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's not a light flight, huh?
I don't think so. Like I've seen like from when you just watching the aircraft take off and fly, like I've seen pilots just like fly low and just like cut straight up in the air and just like do like rotations and like barrel rolls and stuff, and it's just like insane. And then I'll talk to these pilots like, "Hey, sir, how is the flying up there?" "Oh, it's all cool, bro." Like these are like college dudes, like frat boys and stuff. Most of them for the most part, and they're very straightforward, and they're just like, "Yeah, man, it's awesome, cool experience, and there's nothing I wouldn't trade the world for to continue living that experience." So
That's a different mind state.
yeah,
I can't imagine.
yeah. At
Yeah.
some point when I first got in, I was like, "Oh, I would love to be a pilot," but then after working with aircraft and stuff and seeing like the shady stuff that happens, sometimes I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't want to be a pilot.
What
Because
type of
I
shady
would
stuff?
like stuff like how like old the aircraft are at some points, like what the older aircraft I was working on, seeing like how like sometimes stuff break, and a lot of times it's like the pilots would be put in a situation where it's like they have a mission they have to do, but the aircraft is down or is broken, and but it could partially fly, but it's at the risk. It's like a 50% chance they'll fly and successfully do the mission, or 50% chance that it won't. And a lot of times the
Wow.
pilots will be put in a situation where it's like, I gotta go, because like if you're in Afghanistan and you have Marines on the ground trying to like fight, and they're in a situation where they need air support, that pilot wants to like be able to like go up there and provide that air support. Otherwise, then then there's a possibility of people dying,
Yes.
and it's hard because it's like that pressure's on the pilot. That's also on us maintainers or mechanics. Like we're the ones that like, yo, this aircraft is, I don't know if this is gonna fly, but it's hard for us to tell, because a lot of times the pilots are like, "Hey, yo, I don't care. I would take that risk. I need you to provide this support for these Marines and they'll or Army military, any military personnel, and they'll want to take that risk to make the flight." And of course, that rarely happens, because most times our jets are like really good, and like our maintainers, like our mechanics, are like top notch when it comes in the Marine Corps. Like I've seen guys that like do some crazy maintenance actions and maneuvers that will take like weeks to do, but they end up doing it like in a few days. So it's very crazy and stuff. But when you're inside those situations where you're in a critical position, that's when it gets kind of very hectic on both the pilot and us as maintainers.
I can't imagine. Do you Do you have to like, I'm sure, do you have exercises that time yourselves?
It's I don't want to say exercises that time ourselves because usually when it comes to the only exercises that really take place is like once the pilot is like flying in the air, and that's when the mission take place. Where when it comes to maintenance wise and us working on aircraft themselves, usually it's just our uh, our main operator. They'll tell us, "Hey, this needs to be done. Knock it out," and we'll just go out there and knock it out as soon as possible. You know, if it's something, if it requires like us waiting on another shop, or if it requires us waiting for something to cure or like dry up or something like that, whether it's paint or glue or whatever, then that's when it takes longer than usual. But for the most part, it's just we try to knock it out as soon as possible. We don't really have like time tests like that. It's just if something needs to be done, we need to do it ASAP. So
Got it. That's a very crazy lifestyle.
yeah. It's very hectic, man. When it comes to like because like I told you before in the past, there's like the ground side of the Marine Corps, which is like infantry, motor T, which transports stuff, or just basic ground operations like supply and stuff. And then there's the aviation side, where it's like guys who work on aircraft, who deal with the supply and supplying the aircraft squadrons and everything. And it gets very hectic. Like we work like day shift and night shift. Sometimes we work weekends. Sometimes we get called into work depending on certain situations, and it gets very hectic.
I can't imagine. And these are like real systems. It's like not a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
like that.
this is an airplane in the middle of the sea. We gotta make sure it lands correctly or someone's life is on the line.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's mainly pilot wise because they're the ones that like that's pilot and Navy wise because they're the ones that like kind of do the operations where they fly out and they gotta like get their practicing on how to land on the ship and stuff. Whereas like we can't really control that. We don't think we control is just making sure the aircraft can fly and operate correctly. Whereas
Got it.
the pilot controls the landing, the Navy is the ones that guide them, make sure they're staying in the right way and everything. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's
this if you do something wrong, that still could affect their
oh oh yeah
process.
oh yeah yeah
So you
definitely
guys still have some responsibility there.
yeah yeah. There's I've rarely seen any mishaps that were done due to negligence. Luckily, because I hear stories about it all the time about someone leaving something in. The only time the craziest one I've heard was like a pilot that flew an aircraft with the pin with not the pin with like a safety handle still up, which prevents the aircraft from being the seat from being able to eject. So the pilot ended up was flying, and then
Wow.
he and then like something happened and he had to like he was crashing and he had to eject, but because he left the handle up he wasn't able to eject and he ended up dying in the crash, unfortunately. And there's like a huge investigation, and usually whenever there's a crash, especially if there's a loss of a life, they end up just crapping on, which kind of sucks. They crap on the squadron, they go hard, they like hit the maintainers hard, like y'all caused this or this. Well, not y'all caused this, but it's just kind of like they it's just kind of like we get looked down upon. And then like when the investigation is done, when they find out what happens, then that's when they kind of ease up on us. And so when that did occur with that pilot, when it happened, they found out that it wasn't no one's fault but the pilot because he forgot to put the handle down, and because of that he wasn't able to eject and he ended up passing away, unfortunately. But after that they realized that uh, this all occurred because of that situation, and they were able to like understand and have, because usually whenever there's something horrible happen, we always have like a after action report which talk about the stuff that happened, and you kind of recap on things that occur and then how to better and prevent this in the future. So they did that, and now it's just kind of like they enforce that more often. Like, hey, make sure you double check or triple check this handle is down before you fly, stuff. So, but yeah, I rarely. But besides that, I never really hear any crazy mishaps regarding our aircraft. I've seen one regarding other people's aircraft, but nothing regarding ours aircraft, which
What
is
was
good.
it?
So, what you say?
What was it?
While I was doing an operation on a ship, it was like an exercise. We were like out to sea for like just 2 weeks, and we were one of the aircraft. It was a 22 what's that called? An Osprey. It was taken off, and while it was taking off on the flight deck, and I was up there, me and some other people were up there because our aircraft was up there turning, and we were just watching to make sure they were good. This Osprey was taking off, and and I guess the boat was rocking so hard that while it was taking off, the bird was up and it started swaying this way, and the bottom of the propeller hit the deck and crushed down and caused like smoke to appear, and then they ended up doing an emergency land, and luckily it just led to just like it just being crushed on the engine and nothing else. But because that they had like all these people evacuate out of their aircraft and stuff, and it was a huge deal, and it was scary because that could have easily topped over and just fell into the ocean because we were out to sea and everything. And when that happened, it was like we all moved out of the way, and it was like and lucky it wasn't a fire. It was just like it became smoke because I guess from when I was talking to some of the other personnel that work on those aircraft, they're meant to like crush, the bottom is meant to crush like that in case that happens, versus if it was like an actual engine and that happened, that would probably cause the engine to explode and cause like a huge fire and everything. But luckily that happened, and everyone evacuated out of the aircraft safely. And the only injury that occurred was some guy tripped over a chain and like hit his forehead. But besides that, everyone was safe and there was no casualties. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, but that was the craziest thing I've ever seen regarding mishap wise. But besides that, nothing from our aircraft. Everything is usually run smoothly. And if something does occur, usually I'm not there and it's taken care of almost immediately. So it doesn't become like, it doesn't escalate to something serious.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything outside of aircraft that you've gotten into since joining the Marines?
Yeah. So, like I said, I was an aircraft mechanic. My first 5 years in the Marine Corps. After my 5th year, I was kind of like, I want to do some more. I want to do something else. And they have this job called Marine Security Guard, which is we just call it embassy duty. So you pretty much your security at embassies, you travel, you're posted across the world at different locations, and you're responsible and in charge of that embassy. And so I did that for 3 years. Was able to go to 3 locations. I was stationed in Rabat, Morocco for my first year, Kabul, Afghanistan for my second, and then Prague, Czech Republic for my third. And I was
Wow.
at each post for a year long.
How was Morocco?
It was awesome. That was my first location, and that was my first introduction outside of the U.S. Like literally being independent outside of the U.S. Like I've deployed before. I was able to go to Japan and see the rest of the world. However, when I went to Morocco, that was my first time traveling by myself using a I ended up missing my flight in Paris because there was like a miscommunication with the person because they spoke French and I spoke English. So I ended up missing my flight in Paris. I ended up spending an extra night in Paris airport, and I was like freaking out. And I talked to the guy who was my like contact at my embassy in Morocco. And he told me, "Yeah, no worries, you're good. Just stay safe." And I ended up staying like an extra day there. But when I got to Morocco, it was since it's a Muslim country and it's very westernized. It was my first introduction to the Muslim culture, being able to see people around me experience a different culture and and had an amazing time there. I was able to meet awesome people, do some cool exercises in the operation there. The embassy community, since we hire like it's like half locals and half like Americans, and being able to communicate with the locals and see how they're going, being able to go to like dinner parties and associate with them was an awesome experience.
Nice. What did you do while you were there?
So pretty much we're in charge of like security. We're supposed to know the embassy like the back of our hand. We control who comes in and who goes out. We just make sure that we our goal is to like our main goal is to like prevent any threat from entering the embassy, or if there is a threat inside the embassy, contain that threat and be able to handle that threat and protect the ambassador and any American personnel that work at the embassy.
Wow. And you did that for a year?
Yeah, so I did that at pretty much that was our mission for every single one of the embassies I worked at. So Morocco, did that for a year in Morocco. Then after Morocco, I went to uh, uh, Kabul, Afghanistan. Was there for a year as well. Since it was Afghanistan, it was it was a very high threat post. Like because like I said, Morocco was very westernized. Afghanistan, that was the complete opposite. It was very like strict Muslim country. We as Americans weren't allowed to go out into the city at all. But we have the compound where we worked at and worked on and everything. It's like a little miniature city, I guess you could say. Uh, but we were able to associate and work with the locals, which are cool people. When I first went out there, I was kind of like nervous, but then over time I got used to it. And then the coolest stuff was being able to associate with these people and find out that they're just like us in America. The only difference is they have different virtues and values and stuff because of course because they're Muslim, and then they have they play games just like us. They do their own thing. They have their prayers, and it's an awesome culture, and it's awesome to be able to experience that and see how it is from the other side of the wall. Because I know before embassy duty, I was very ignorant regarding it because I didn't know about it. I was like, oh, it's just they just want to kill us, or it's just I'm afraid I don't want to go there because I don't want to die in Afghanistan or this and that. But then after being able to go there and meet these awesome people and deal with these, like we did launch here with like some of the local children there, and it was awesome time. Yeah.
That sounds like an awesome time. And you only stayed on the compound the whole year?
Yeah. We only stay on a compound. Like mind you, it's a huge compound. Like it's like the size of like crap. What's a good example? I'll say it's probably like Aliso Viejo Town Square.
Yes.
It's like that size. The whole entire compound was like that size, I'll say.
Not bigger?
It's like that size, and then like outside that line, there's like the green zone where we're allowed to walk at is that size. And then outside of that area, it's like a orange zone where there could possibly be a threat, but there's not threat because there's still security. And then after that, there's the red zone where you're not allowed. No Americans allowed to go out there at all.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. And you stayed in the green zone most of the time?
Yeah. Because that's where the embassy was at. We worked at the embassy, and then we would just pretty much work there, do operations. Because when I was out there, I was operations NCO. So my job was to maintain to keep plans fresh and understand the embassy and be able to like create a plan for if there's any situation that occur, whether it be an earthquake or a fire situation or a chemical attack or any intruder situation. My goal was to create a plan to be able to execute and be able to neutralize whatever threat it was, or be able to deter any like hazard that occurs.
Wow. In Kabul, Afghanistan, that sounds kind of scary.
Yeah, it was. It was like when I first got there, there was I would say there was like a tech like maybe like once every few days. well, I don't want to say attack. There was like something that occurred once every few days because how it worked was if something occurred, the alarm will go off and then we'll have to like speak on the sound system, notifying the whole entire compound that there's something going on and we're investigating. Please remain calm and stay inside and whatever. And then while that takes place, we're waiting for intel from our bosses that they have like the whole entire overview of the whole situation. They'll let us know, hey, this is occurring. Let the Marines know, and then like the Marines will react, stand by, and deal with whatever. If something happens that is within the realm of the embassy, we'll handle it. But if it's outside the embassy, then um, the other personnel will handle it.
Got it. Got it. Wow. That is so just 1 year in Afghanistan.
Yes, 1 year in Afghanistan, and then after Afghanistan, I was lucky enough to get Prague, Czech Republic for my final post, and that was an
Prague.
awesome place. Yeah.
I've been there and I love Prague. What did you like about Prague?
Just the beautiful city. It's the beautiful city, the culture. Beer is cheaper than water, of course, out there, which is pretty dope. So just being able to see meet all the amazing people, like because it's very since it's a tourist attraction, you have all these people from across the world traveling to this country, traveling to the city to see it and stuff. And then like whenever me and my friends would go out, we would always meet interesting people. Like we'll meet people from Australia, China, Japan, Italy, America, freaking Venezuela. Like we'll meet people from all across the world and stuff and have an amazing time there.
That is amazing. That's the one reason I like big cities is because the world comes to the big city. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's what city it is, LA, Prague, Hong Kong, Tokyo, or whatever, Mumbai. The world's going to come there and you're going to get, the lot of the locals, but you're going to get a lot of foreigners too.
Oh yeah.
And Prague is kind of, I think they call it where Eastern Europe meets Western Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know when I know Russia when they preoccupied it's I know a lot of people from like Czech Republic hates Russia and it's because of that, and it's very you still see some like the residents from it. There's people there that's like, oh, we want communism, and there's people that are just like, yeah, no, we don't want that crap. So, and it's just like you still see those kind of people butt heads at some point. We had like protests happen one time. These people were protesting for communism, and was just like, yeah, I do realize communism wouldn't allow y'all to protest and stuff, but it's very crazy. The amount of ideologies and stuff you see there and stuff when you're overseas.
That's really interesting. Yes, and being aware of those ideologies and customs is important because it's not America. Like we can't run like Americans when we're abroad. We can, but it's better if we act in accordance with whatever country we're in, I think.
Definitely. Oh yeah, I can agree more. Because you have like you'll have these like Americans that will visit and they'll have like and these are just like tourists because we count a lot of tourists. They'll come here and be cocky and disrespectful to like the locals. I'm like, yo man, like cut that crap. Like you do realize this isn't America. Like there's freedom of speech and all this stuff in America, but this is Europe. Like you get in trouble. Like you're gonna offend someone, they're gonna knock you upside the head, and then you're gonna come calling the embassy and say, hey, I was robbed, or this happened to me, or that happened to me, and we can't do anything about it. Like because this is America, this is Europe. Like the best they can do is just like put in a police report, but more than likely than not, nothing's gonna come to it. So
no, it's not. That little piece of space is your country, that embassy. But if it goes on outside of that, that's not your jurisdiction.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a great, but it was a great experience living out there. I was able to meet my girlfriend out there, and I was able to meet amazing people, do some awesome operations, and then being able to travel across Europe from being out there as well. So yeah.
Yes, that sounds very exciting. Do you have any plans moving forward, Daniel?
Well, recently, I got a new job. My job is I used to work on an older aircraft. Now I'm working on a newer aircraft. So my plans is to gain knowledge on this new aircraft, so I can be able to get all my qualifications, and then hopefully be able to pick up my next rank, which would be an E7, and then after that, continue on progressing my career and hopefully retire. And depending on how that goes, either I can become a contractor and work for on the same aircraft as a contractor, or I could just, just do something new and become a work for the Department of States, or just something completely new, like maybe even become a teacher or something. There's different when it comes to like after the military. I always think about like what I'm going to do after, and there's a lot of different choices I think about, and different opportunities I have, but it's kind of hard to decide because of so many choices. But definitely my short-term goal right now, or midterm goal, is to be able to stay in the military, get all my qualifications, be successful, and retire out of the military honorably, so I can be able to move on to the next chapter in my life.
My guest today has been Daniel Noble. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Daniel.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Ruth. I really appreciate it.